That could happen. Yeah.
Okay. Our broadcast is now live. I am broadcasting from my laundry room. Hi, Julia.
Hi, Aya. How you doing? I like your laundry room. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. I guess by the time I am done with my broadcasting career on YouTube, people will know every room in my house.
Pretty cool. But that's good. You don't have to even do a home tour to get that, you know, to use a little bit of every room. You know what I'm saying? Like you can kind of just do it organically.
Right.
So like I know there's a lot of different things going on in the bird world right now, and you posted something that was interesting the other day. And yes, I know the site is a little bit like considered satire, but it did have a good point. It was something about like what birds eat and what we can feed them. What was that about?
Well, you know, right now, and I am a fan of Marlene McCohen, and she has a channel, and she's a bird expert, and there's no doubt that she knows a great deal more about birds than I do. And I've been watching a lot of that, and I've also been part of some Facebook groups about birds, just because I'm taking care of 3 birds.
Mm-hmm.
They're not actually my birds. I didn't get them for me. They're my daughter's, but she's away at college most of the time, and I have to take care of them. Now, my birds mostly eat seeds. Sometimes I give them other things. So, for instance, Summer today ate some oatmeal because I was making oatmeal for Bo, and Summer is very involved in what we have and what I'm cooking, and he gets very excited when he sees me cooking anything. And you would think, well, a bird would be lactose intolerant, right? Because they have no need for milk. They're birds. But there's milk in the oatmeal, and he doesn't have any trouble, you know, with it. He doesn't eat a lot, of course, because he's just a bird.
He's just a bird, but
yeah,
I think most of your animals will eat what you eat, and I hate that, by the way. Like all this new research is like, well, you can't feed your dog this, you can't feed your cat this, but how come I had cats to live to be almost 20 years old? Well, they were my parents' cats, but I grew up with them part of the time and spent large amounts of time with them. And I fed them things that they said, well, cats can't eat that. But these cats live to be almost 20. And there's cats that people have this really regulated diet for, and they don't live even half that amount.
Right. Yeah. So I think the things that people are saying that we should feed our animals are strange, just as strange as the things they're telling us we have to feed ourselves. But okay, that wasn't really the point about it. There was an article from The Onions, and it was making fun of I guess a conservationist, or not conservationist, but you know, the very how shall I put it, extremists on the ecological line of thought. So it was saying birds should stop eating insects because we're going to run out of insects or something along that line. Okay. Now, of course, we're not going to tell the birds in the wild what they can eat because we can't dictate to them what they're going to eat. They're going to eat whatever they eat. And sometimes they do eat seeds, and sometimes, a lot of the times, they do eat insects. But what I find strange is when the exotic bird experts tell us, yes, birds in the wild eat seeds, but you shouldn't feed your caged bird or even your free to roam around your house bird seeds because they're very high nutrition and your bird doesn't get enough exercise. Therefore, your bird should get low nutrition stuff like and then they'll have an ad for something like Supreme pellets, which if you look at that stuff, it's loaded with carbs.
It's not good. I think it's filler food, and I feel like they're trying to push a certain product, maybe. What's wrong with the bird seed?
Right. So my birds mostly eat bird seed. I do supplement with other things, but that's what they like to eat. That's what they've been eating for years and years and still are alive and seem to be doing well on and seem to like. And they don't like necessarily everything. It's a mix of seeds, and each bird gets to decide, okay, I'm going to eat these and I'm not going to eat those. And that's their choice, right?
And they do that. It's their choice. Like, okay, we do have wild birds up in the mountains, but I took some pictures on my blog around Christmas time of birds. Okay, they're wild birds, but they have adapted to human patterns, and they know that my parents put out bird seed. So there's many different types of birds. You'll see a giant band-tailed pigeon about this tall with little chickadees, and they're all like picking different kinds of seed that they like, but they come there and they also eat acorns that they find in nature. So I don't see why they can't eat some bird seed and acorns, and I think it's fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah, so there's this kind of idea, though, that high nutrition foods have high caloric value. And it sounds to me like they're counting calories. We already know that counting calories doesn't even work if you are trying to keep your bird slim for some reason, which I never would. But
no, but do you know what that actually sounds like? Okay, I eat like a plant-based diet because that's what I like. But there's a group of people in the vegan community. They're like high carb, low fat. They think you shouldn't eat avocados. They're like, don't eat oil. Like they think like, oh, you should just eat it like a big bowl of pasta or like a giant banana smoothie. But guess what? There was a woman recently. She started having nutrition deficiencies eating that way for a while. So I guess she went back to eating fish, and everybody was going to her videos and they were like basically insulting her because she said, well, this diet didn't work for me. And that's her right. Like, I just thought that was wrong. But that's kind of what it sounds like they're doing to the birds a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Can you hold on a moment? In fact, go ahead and talk about your nutritional issues or.
Oh, okay. So
I have to go take care of something.
Yeah, I'll do that. So like, okay, I'll keep talking. Anyway, like, you know, I eat vegan just because it works for me. It's something that I feel better doing, but I do know that most people don't want to be vegan. Most people do eat meat. And it just seems like in the vegan community, there's this really strange, like, and there's still these people, and some of them claim, I mean, they're doctors, but I kind of am skeptical of what they're saying because they're like saying you have to eat really low fat, and that is actually a form of calorie counting. And this one woman who went and did a video saying she wasn't vegan anymore basically was saying she was having dietary issues because of this type of diet that was being presented on the internet. And when she decided to share, oh, I'm eating some eggs and fish now, she got a lot of hate on her videos. And I just don't understand why. Like, okay, you know, for me, like, eating plant-based really works, but I know most people don't want to eat that way. And I think like it just seems like I'm seeing a correlation between what they're telling you that you have to feed a pet or a bird to like what they're saying people have to eat. And there's just so many different schools of thought, you know? And I don't think any of them are necessarily right for everybody. Just my viewpoint, you know, you have to eat what's right for you.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, I like that the birds have a choice. So even if I, as a human being, don't understand what a bird wants, because I'm not a bird and I'll never be a bird, the fact that in the seed mixes, there are quite a number of different things. So if one of those things is not right for that bird, the bird can just decide not to eat that, can eat what works for that bird.
And that's fine. It's not even, I don't even know why this is an issue. We've never bought, well, not me personally, but like just my dad, he likes to feed some birds outside, but he doesn't buy the bird pellets. He just buys the bird seed. But like I was saying, these are wild birds, but they interact with people because they know people are there and they're going to put out bird seed. So they tend to come to their house over other people's houses in the wintertime because yes, they could forage in the forest for like seeds and worms for hours, but they know that there's bird seed right there. And they all seem to go there and the birds will hunt and peck for what they like and leave certain kinds of seeds behind. And some of them become like different plants in the spring. It's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. You know, we used to have chickens and we fed them, we fed them a chicken feed mix, but whenever we had bird seed that was left over, we would just throw it out there, and sometimes we got flowers as a result of that out in the yard. But the thing is, I think it's not just that we shouldn't necessarily tell the birds what to eat, because maybe the birds know better than we do what they should be eating. But it's also that I think the people who are giving nutritional advice to bird owners don't understand the basics of what happens when you eat a low-fat diet. So a high-fat diet is very high in calories and nutrition, but it does not usually make animals get fat. It usually keeps them slim regardless of their level of activity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you know, if you are concerned that your bird is going to get too fat, I wouldn't feed that bird, you know, a high carb diet. I might feed it more insects and fewer seeds, but I wouldn't, I would definitely not go around feeding grains over, you know, or sugary kind of stuff over the bird seed, which has high fat in it.
I don't think there's any problem with bird seed. I mean, some of the seeds in there are fine for human consumption too. It's got nutrition in it. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know when it became popular to say that nutritionally dense foods were bad for us, because I thought the thinking for humans was kind of going the other way, that like it seems like a lot of those ketogenic diets are kind of becoming popular, but now it sounds like trying to tell birds that they have to eat a high carb diet or something. That's just surreal.
Yeah, no, I don't get that, but I don't want to come off as being really bossy or something. So since I'm a newcomer to this whole bird thing, I don't say anything about that there, but it is something that puzzles me very much, because I don't think they understand nutrition for themselves, these humans.
No, there's something called intuitive eating. Have you heard about intuitive eating?
No, I always used to eat intuitively, but no, I haven't heard if there's something special about it. No.
It's just where basically you know what you need for yourself, and some people don't like this, but whatever feels right for you is usually what's right for you. And that same goes with a bird or a dog or a cat. And I tend to eat intuitively. Like if I feel like eating something, I eat that. Yeah. And I don't worry as much like if somebody else doesn't like that. And I think that's what works best for everybody, whether you be a bird, a human, just more intuitive eating as opposed to calorie restrictive diets, which have not worked. I think the obesity epidemic in our country is actually the result of a lot of this, like pushing certain diets that were calorie restrictive, because people eat like a lot of carby things and then they binge on more. I don't know. And now that's like they're recommending it for birds, but hey, I'm not a bird expert, so
yeah,
that's just
I don't even want to go there. But yeah, I think the reason that we went into this low fat phase where everybody was trying to eat low fat was because they were counting calories. Well, besides the fact that the government started telling people that they shouldn't have too much fat, that obviously that was terribly wrong. But I think the thinking of the ordinary person was, let's count calories. Oh, fat has more calories per gram than do carbs. So let's eat more carbs. That way we'll get to have lots of grams and not too many calories. But because of the way we process the food, you know, it doesn't turn out that way at all.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's an interesting topic. I don't really care, like, just disclaimer, what people eat or what they feed their birds. I just personally think your birds know what they want to eat.
Right, exactly. So I let my bird, you know, and it's maybe even a little bit wasteful, but the thing is, birds, like everybody else, have preferences, and they will go through their food and throw out anything they don't like, and they will just eat the parts they like.
And it doesn't have to be completely wasteful, because if you have some leftover bird seed, you can put it outside, and then the wild birds, they could eat it, and it might result in some pretty clover or flowers in your yard in the springtime.
Right. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. So yeah, I try to be frugal as much as possible, but I also have always believed that you should let people decide for themselves what they're going to eat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think life would be kind of boring if we were just always like trying to eat a certain way. Just my opinion, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and sometimes when children have an aversion to something, they might not know what the reason is, but there might be a good reason.
There could be. I mean, well, there's those people, they're the tan eaters. They can really only drink like chocolate milk and eat like white bread, and that's it. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like they're going to die. But there's actually some people in their 50s, that's really all they could ever stomach in their entire lives was they could drink chocolate milk and they could eat like Weber's white bread. And that was it. And if they tried to incorporate other foods in their diet, they would have aversions, they'd become ill. And there are some people that go through life like that.
Yep. Well, I mean, I'm a firm believer that everybody should be allowed to make decisions for themselves, and we sometimes don't even know what the reasons are.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we can't say why, you know?
Right.
But anyway, I didn't want to keep going on and on about that. I was just going to mention, like, there was that documentary I watched about the people that were of Tongan nationality descent. They basically didn't have a U.S. passport or an Australian passport or a New Zealand passport. And I think I kind of shared that documentary with you, right?
Yes, you did. And I think it is very unfortunate for those people to be returned to any community, anywhere, because once they are like that, you know, once they have become hardened criminals, it's really hard for any community to absorb them.
Yeah, that was just what I thought was interesting about it, was that, well, this is just my viewpoint. I just felt really bad in that particular circumstances because Tonga is a very, very small country and they have a very unique culture. Like they're just kind of peaceful, religious, they keep to themselves. And then all of a sudden you never had armed robbery in Tonga, like ever, like nobody ever, everybody was just like living their daily life. They weren't like thinking about, oh, well, I'm going to go rob my neighbors. But because these people are sent back, you have all these crimes that just never existed in their country, like just popping up because
well, I'm wondering, do they really have to accept these people? I mean, couldn't they just say, sorry, but you're free to deport those people from your country, but we're not accepting them into our country either?
They might have to, but this was the impression I got from the documentary is Tonga's a really small country, so it doesn't have like a lot of diplomatic clout. It's not like where Australia and the US are going to have like a talk or a summit. Like basically I felt like I kind of felt bad for them because I think they need to stand up for themselves a bit more. But it was kind of like they felt like, well, what are we going to do? Like these US Marshals escort these people into their country and they kind of have to take them in. Like they felt.
I don't know. Are they in the UN? They could make a big deal of it.
Well, they should do something about it, I guess. I mean, that's their own issue. Yeah. I just felt like they kind of felt like this issue was just put upon them, and maybe they need to stand up for themselves some more in that area and say we're not accepting these people. But where could these people go as opposed to just sending them to a little country that doesn't have that kind of
culture? I don't think that I mean, that is really an issue that we have to consider. I don't think any country should be required to accept people who are, you know, serious criminals that, and I'm talking about criminals where the crime is against persons and property. I'm not talking about things like using drugs or whatever.
Oh no, these are like serious criminals. Like one guy shot somebody in the stomach. One guy pushed somebody up against
okay, see, here's the thing. This is the reason that sometimes a death penalty doesn't seem so unreasonable, because sometimes you have nowhere to send those people and you don't want to pay with tax dollars to keep them alive.
Yeah.
So, I know that the Libertarian Party has an anti-death penalty platform, and I actually agree with that, because I don't want the government doing it. Okay. I really don't think the government is very good at deciding who gets to live and who gets who does not get to live. But on the other hand, I think that if somebody, you know, if somebody's family member was murdered by a heartless killer and they responded by going out and killing that person, I think that we should just not prosecute. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. Like,
because otherwise, you know, there's nowhere to send them. And if you have to keep them in prison for a lifetime, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And, you know, I tend to be anti-death penalty. But in that sort of case, I just feel like, gee, did that person, he killed somebody, like, and he's just walking free now around in Tonga saying, oh, I can't speak the language, but hey, I'm a hardened criminal and I'm going to start peddling drugs. And just like,
yeah.
It's just like, you know, it's like, why? That never even should have happened. And he only got like a 10-year sentence out of the whole thing. Really not common sense.
So I'm glad you brought this up, because this is the one thing that is very hard to talk to people in general about. But if we're going to have laws against violent criminal behavior, sometimes the whole idea of putting someone in prison for life or deporting them if they don't happen to come from your country, it's not really a good solution. It begs a certain question of, why should anybody be taxed to support this person?
No, they shouldn't. And then it's kind of like passing our tax burden on to another country, because they're like, oh, well, here they are. You can have them now, instead of like keeping them in prison for life. I don't think either are good. And I'm not like in support of the death penalty, but there were certain people, like, I don't know, that were in prison that were pretty horrible people that committed horrible crimes, and they didn't get the death penalty in California. And in those cases, I'm like, I'm not saying that the state should have to do it, but it just blows my mind, you know, some of those people, like the horrific things they did. Right. I don't think anybody should have that right, that I'm not offended if somebody says what they think on this topic, because these people did horrible things to other people, and they're just like, oh yeah, I know. They don't care. They don't have any like remorse, period. And here they are being sent to a peaceful little country. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes we just try to get rid of our problems and we throw them onto somebody else, and that's not a good thing to do. But
I don't think it works. But anyway, I didn't want to make it like super political or anything. I just kind of wanted to share the documentary because I thought it was interesting that right now all we talk about is like, oh, do you love Donald Trump or do you hate Donald Trump? But we don't talk about anything else. So I just thought, oh, well, here's an issue that kind of is happening. And by the way, it was happening under Obama too. Obama expedited deporting people. That's one thing people don't know about Obama. Like, he upped the numbers of deportations, by the way. A lot of this happened under his administration. It just got a little bit more accelerated under Trump. But he started this, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think that the difference between the two parties is as great as people think it is.
No, I don't either. And I don't know. That was just one thing I wanted to touch upon. But did you want to talk about any other topics, like about things that are going on?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about something lighter.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that.
Just for a change. So I'm here in my laundry room, and I wanted to share that I had an outing with my daughter and two other people who are very close to us. And we went to a number of stores, and I don't know if you've heard, but Payless shoe source is going out of business. I think it's nationwide.
Yeah, you're right. I heard about that, and I kept wanting to go over and get a pair of shoes, but I just haven't made my way over there yet. But it sounds like you did. So what did you find?
Well, I bought 2 pairs of shoes. I'm not really a shoe maven or anything like that. I did show them to Bo after I came home because he really likes shoes and he was impressed. But they were discounted. And so I like shoes that are easy to wear. These are called Airwalk. because I'm not one of those people who have to wear something that looks cool but feels terrible. I just enjoy comfortable shoes. I'm a size 7, so that's what these are.
Cool.
And this is called Crochet Dream or Crochet Rêve. And the size is 38.5 European or 24 Mexican. So
you know what? I kind of missed that about the Payless shoes, because I remember that they would always show like the European size on there. And when I buy shoes in other places, I don't always see that as much. I've noticed.
Right. And these are made in China.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically canvas with a crochet overlay.
Ooh.
And
I like those canvas shoes. Those are cute.
Yeah, so I bought 2 pair. One pair is black. I'm probably going to wear the black ones a lot more than the white ones. They're exactly the same size, exactly the same make and everything. But Sword persuaded me to get a white pair, even though I know they're going to get dirty too fast for me.
They can get dirty, but I have a tip on that, and I haven't done this as much lately. But what you can do, if it's a canvas shoe with a plastic sole, you can wash them in the washing machine. You're right there, and clean them up. And I've done that with Payless shoes before in the past. A similar pair to those, I did wash them, and it cleaned them up pretty nicely.
So I wanted to share the price with you in case you get a chance to go there before they close. The original price was $24.99 per pair. And it was a 30% discount, so that was minus $7.50 per pair. So each pair cost me only $17.49.
That's not bad. Pretty good.
Yeah, but I wanted to share with you a pair of shoes that I like even better than these. These are very similar. I bought them because they're similar to my favorite pair right now. My favorite pair is very scuffed up and probably will not last very long. It's also a size 7, and it's different. You see over here, they have this elastic thing on both sides, on either side of the, I don't know what you call this part, but
I think like there's a name for it.
Yeah, I know.
I have to Google it to get it precise.
Right. So this one is different because instead of having 2 of these elastic thingies on either side, they have it in the middle. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that.
That makes it, I don't know, it just seems to stay together more. I'll read you. This is a textile upper, textile with man-made materials outsole. It's made in Target. Made in China. It's from Target. And this is what it looks like on the sole. It's a better sole, I believe. Notice the difference?
Yeah, I do notice the difference, and that's kind of been what I encountered with Payless versus Target shoes. I like Payless shoes enough, but Target does have some really good shoes, but lately I can't find the ones I love there as much anymore, I've noticed.
Now, I have trouble reading this, but it says something that looks like Malo.
Is that the brand, maybe? I can't.
Yeah, I think it's the brand.
It might be the brand of the shoe. I know there's a couple of different brands that they have. I used to try. Well, one time I got really lucky and I bought some pairs of shoes at Target for like almost $5 a piece because it was after Christmas and they were clearance. They went on clearance. I was really lucky that time, but I happened to very much luck out. But I still have them and they're still working, so it's pretty cool.
Well, I bought these in Bloomington when I was staying with my mother at Target there. Since then, I have looked all over Missouri, close to where I live, for more shoes like this. I wanted them exactly the same. And the Targets here do not carry this, but year after year when I went to my mother's, I could find them. So last year when I visited my mother, I did buy an extra pair, but here's what happened. I took them on a canoeing trip and we capsized and I lost one of the shoes, and you can't wear just one shoe.
No, you can't. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to, but it's not very practical.
No, not really. No. So, yeah, that's my sad story about my favorite shoes, but I still have the one pair.
But I'm glad you got a comparable pair at Payless. You got a good discount. It might not be as nice as the Target pair, but it's a nice backup choice.
It is a nice backup choice, but you can see this one is really well made. You see how it's stitched here with the, and I think this one is probably going to fall apart more because it looks like it wasn't stitched. It looks like it was glued in.
Yeah, they do that with a lot of like shoes where they just glue them, and it can work with certain kinds. Like if you buy the really high-end Converse shoes, they have really nice glue, but they also have stitching. They don't just glue it. But I did have a pair of canvas shoes where it was just glued together almost, and those disintegrated pretty quick. So yeah, you need a little bit of stitching in there.
Right. Yes. If I were a seamstress, I would just go ahead and stitch these, and then I'd have exactly what I wanted. But maybe we should just ask Doug Allen Ashby to print me some shoes.
Yeah, you know, that would be really cool. Maybe someday they can just, like, I liked the idea of that possibility that one day you could be like, I don't want to go buy a cutting board all the time. Can I just print it out? I don't know why I'm thinking about a cutting board, but I want a new cutting board, and I just don't really want to buy one right now. I just would like it to be printed out for me.
Well, you could have any kind of design on it that you wanted. Probably you could probably like have it made from 2 colors of material so that you could have a pattern in it.
That would be pretty cool. I just thought, you know, that was a really good live stream. We learned a lot about 3D printing, and it seems to really be taking off.
Yeah, I certainly hope his business does well, especially since they exported all the jobs to Haiti. You know.
Yeah, they did, which, yeah, I mean, that's part, but I think that it's sad, but that is part of the adaptation of our economy, is that we do have to adapt, and it's unfortunate that they send jobs away, but sometimes.
Well, I think that if we didn't have a minimum wage,
they might not.
We would not send those jobs away. I'm pretty sure that what's happening is that people in Haiti are very happy to be paid whatever they're paying them, which is a lot less than the minimum wage. So, you know, people who say, oh, we need a minimum wage to keep poor people, you know, fed or something like that, that's absolutely not true. If we didn't have a minimum wage, then people would work at the highest they could find a job, but they would work and they would have an income.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually, like small businesses, they can't afford to hire somebody for a minimum wage. And from what I've heard, I thought a lot of waitresses and things, they don't even really make minimum wage. Like the thought is they get paid a lot in what tips they get. So, I mean, a lot of people don't make, and what about babysitters? They're definitely not going to be making a minimum wage, but what are they going to pass a law now saying that you have to pay a babysitter a minimum wage? How would a single mom be able to work? She might not be able to work then if she had to pay the person watching her kid as much as she's making. It just doesn't make sense in every scenario to say everybody has to make a minimum wage, because maybe some people want to work and they're okay negotiating that wage with their employer.
Right, I think so. And I mean, people used to have other people who lived in their homes and helped with childcare, helped with cleaning, and obviously were not paid anything close enough to minimum wage, but they were given a place to live. They had a roof over their head. They, you know, they had security, and when they got sick, there was no health insurance, but usually if the people they worked for were decent, they helped take care of them in their old age.
You know, I think that's kind of what the theme of the movie Remains to the Day was about with Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson, was that there was this rich American guy. He bought an English house in the countryside, and he didn't really care about it. He'd just be like there, like, oh yeah, I'm just visiting. But the butler, Anthony Hopkins, really appreciated the house. He lived at the house. He managed, you know, everybody that took care of the house. And then at the end of the day, that he'd be having tea with Emma Thompson, and he would just be saying, like, look at this beautiful house and this setting, like, we get to appreciate it. And Emma Thompson later on went on to marry, but she reflected back later in life that the best part of her life was when she was working in that house as a servant with Anthony Hopkins. And they were servants, but they were enjoying working in that beautiful house and being part of that, you know, architecture. So it's not always a bad thing to work for somebody, even though we're told that it is nowadays.
Right. So, you know, we all have to do our own laundry, and we have our laundry rooms, but, you know, the laundry room won't take care of you when you're sick. The laundry room will not rock your baby to sleep at night. The laundry room will not do what the person who used to help you wash also did.
Yeah, exactly. It won't help you do different things at all. So, yeah, that's a good point. I just think people should be free to make up their own. If somebody wants to work for a set amount of money and somebody wants to hire them, maybe exchange room and board, that should be fine. It shouldn't be a problem, really.
Right. Right. But a lot of people, even if they are having deals like that with each other, they're doing it under the table. And oftentimes they're doing it with illegal immigrants because it's illegal to do this.
Yeah, it is, which is kind of silly, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But like, basically they were trying to make people think in California in the 80s that it would be illegal just to babysit, which I think isn't true. But I don't know. You're the lawyer. Maybe you can tell us this, but they would run out. I don't know. Is that true?
Well, it's true that if you have a long-term contractual agreement with someone working for you, and that person is a servant in your home, then you're supposed to behave like a big employer and pay FICA and FUTA and pay for their health insurance and all of this stuff. And most people can't afford to do that. Most private people, even though they could afford to pay certain wages to somebody who works in their home, can't afford to do that, which is why it's under the table. And
but I think a lot of things end up being under the table for those reasons, because maybe, I don't know, like they say we need this type of health insurance and that, but there might be just a better way if we had more competition in the medical industry, as opposed to saying, well, we need to have this type of health care, you know?
Well, I mean, we can't, we can say that you have to have the health insurance, but the health insurance is costing more and more and covers less and less. So the more you guarantee people that they're going to have, the less it's worth. The more everybody else has to pay, and it's a terrible thing. It's bankrupting the entire country, and you know, eventually 100% of our income can go into healthcare, but that's going to make everything collapse.
But it seems like we're not allowed to have that discussion or the direction these things are going. Not that I want to keep going down that path, but
yeah. I know. We're going to keep it light today. But
yeah, you know, I'm sorry. Julia's the one that keeps making it all. Like, I keep going there today. I don't know. My mind's just like, I don't know. But anyway, I was going to share something about Zazzle. Like, I've kind of, I don't know. I just wasn't doing Zazzle as much. And I started thinking about it. And I'm like, well, I want to start doing Zazzle more again. And I started making some things on my Zazzle shop. And I kind of wanted to share if you're interested. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I was going to go into screen share, but first I need to make sure I get the screen up. I'm just going to share like a couple things I'm making. I won't bore you completely. I just thought it was kind of fun. Like, I'm playing around with some of their new products, and you can do this yourself, like, too, if you're interested in that. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm interested in merch. So show me what you got.
Yeah, I was going to do that. I just have to log in. I'm sorry. I should have this all up and ready to go. I just want to make sure I'm on the right page before I start doing that. But anyway, Zazzle is really great because you can customize. Like, you can take something that you have, like a photograph and artwork, and you can put it on different merchandise. So let me just go into screen share real quick and I'll show you like some of the things I was doing, like just fun things kind of. See. Am I in screen share yet? Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to show you a couple of things. Like I won't bore you.
Oh, I see it now.
Okay. So like I took some pictures of the snow on the mountain because this is like the most snow we've had in 20 years. And this is just like a pillow. It's a throw pillow. And yeah, the prices are a little high, but the thing about it is that you have to keep in mind is that you're putting your own artwork or photograph on this pillow. And by the way, Zazzle has really well designed products because I have a cat bag that I've had for like 2 years with excessive use. And it's getting like a tiny hole on the inside now, but I've carried like up to maybe 30 pounds of groceries in my bag sometimes over a 2-year period. So it's doing pretty good. So I just designed a pillow. And then I don't know why I thought this was interesting, but one day I was outside and I saw this rock right here. What does this rock kind of look like to you?
I don't know, like a diamond?
It does, but I also thought it kind of looked like, I don't know, a sock for some reason.
Oh.
Maybe.
Okay.
It just was what struck me, but I thought it was an unusual looking rock. So I took a picture of it, and I think these are like little quartzy rocks, but it was just something fun that, you know, I was doing. And then I also did like a poster. I need to do more art, but I did make a shirt just talking about like my Syrian heritage, like Lebanese Syrian heritage. And I've made some other ones. Like there was a chipmunk shirt that I made because I was in the mountains up in November and I saw this little chipmunk on a tree. I just thought that was cute, but I'll stop sharing because I don't want to go too deep into it. But that just kind of gives you an idea of like some of the stuff Zazzle can do for you if you're interested in like having a shirt that's unique, that's not like what everybody else is wearing, which is what I kind of like.
Yeah, I like unique shirts too. And I'm going to be looking into also, there's something that YouTube is sponsoring, or actually YouTube is suggesting to me to accept as a sponsor. I forget what it's called, but so they print things, and but they also run their ads on your YouTube channel. So if I had like something with Bo's face on it, or something that I drew Bo on, or something like that, and if I ran it with them, they would actually run the ads for my product. So
that would be pretty cool. I think your subscribers are getting pretty high now for them to be offering. That's exciting. Oh, that's exciting.
Well, I'll look into it. They're offering me all sorts of things, but I think first of all, I have to take a course. So it's in the Creator Academy. And they won't let you go forward with any of these ideas until you take a course. And I guess the course is not so much to educate you, but to make sure that you agree to their terms.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've noticed. But I did watch, like, for years I was like, oh, I don't want to edit videos. I don't want to do this and that. But recently I have started to realize, well, some editing might be good, except I tend to like our live streams a bit more because I like things that are just a little bit more organic, I guess. I don't like things that are a little too scripted, but that's just my take on videos.
Right. So I could get a sponsor. That's what they're saying. After I take a course on what you do, if you have a sponsor, what your responsibilities are.
Oh, yeah. Like you have to agree to different things. Like maybe certain videos would be monetized with those ads and not others. I don't know if that's like, I get the impression, like, I don't know if that's like the kind of thing that they would stipulate, you know. I don't know their stipulations, but
yeah, I don't know. That's why I have to watch it. And so far I haven't found the time to just sit there and watch it and then answer multiple choice questions to show that I understood what I watched. But that's what you kind of have to do. You're like a student, but really it's their way of getting you to agree to their terms. So I could be receiving some monetary inducement to say put a product in a video. For instance, I did not receive any monetary inducement to show you these shoes. Those are actually shoes that I bought. But
yeah, you bought them.
Right. But if I had a sponsor, then there would be a little thing down the side that says this content is sponsored. And then they would send me some shoes, let's say, if it were shoes. And then I'd have to say something nice about them, even if I didn't like them. So I don't know.
I don't know. I've kind of heard like people say, oh, well, you have to always say something nice about it. But I have heard mixed things. Like some products do want you to be like, they don't want you to like defame the product, but you can just be honest. Like I might like this better, but I don't know. I guess you'd have to see what their policies are. But I have seen some reviews that are a little bit more on the honest side where people were sent a product and they're doing like a YouTube review about it, but maybe that's more of a contractual agreement between the product and the person and not what you're speaking of. I don't know as much about this. I'll be interested to hear what you learn.
Okay, well, as I learn these things, I will report on them. And I think I won't be shy about reporting about the course because you see, I'm a college professor and I just think it's funny that they're forcing me to undergo a course.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Like, it's interesting. Like, it's kind of like it's not really something that would be applicable to you, but I guess they just assume everybody has to watch this. You know, they're like.
I don't think that's what it is, though. I don't think they're really educating us.
They just want you to agree to their terms, maybe, like you're saying.
Right. So instead of you're just signing the terms without reading them, they make you read them and answer multiple choice questions about it. That way they can prove that you did know what the terms were.
Oh boy, that sounds like the FEMA training. That was so much fun. We had to do something like this called FEMA training where, because we could be a FEMA center and you had to read all this and do a multiple choice test. And I was like, oh, we had to do that, but it was like not the funnest thing in the world.
Well, it's kind of like if your parents read you the Riot Act and then they make you repeat what they told you to make sure that you know what they said. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Gee, fun. But it might be good, maybe, I guess you could see, or it might be a mixed bag. You never know.
Yeah, no, I just have to be in the right mood because I'm very impatient with stuff where people condescend to me. So I'm very impatient about stuff like this where they pretend it's a course, but it's really a contract. That's what
it's really a contract. And I feel like they should just be honest about it. Like, why can't they just give you the option to read what their stipulations are and then you can sign off on it? Because it's not like, you know, we would actually read those things. And I feel like it is kind of condescending that they assume some people wouldn't read it because maybe some people do, you know, like give us an option.
Right. And so anyway, once I am in the right frame of mind, I will start undergoing these courses and decide if I want any sponsorship or want to be involved in any of these things.
Yeah. And okay, I haven't made my monetization back, but I am getting a little bit of the YouTube University kind of push on me. And one of the courses that they recommended that I watched, I guess, was on editing, because I guess YouTube has determined, well, you edit some of your videos, Julia, but you're not a big editor. And then what I was watching just felt kind of like not me at all, because it was this lady, she's doing like this fashion shoot and she's putting all this music in and jump cuts. And I'm thinking, I just don't aspire to do that. So I didn't feel like it was really applicable to me, but YouTube University was telling me I should watch this course to become a better YouTuber.
Yeah, well, you know, I think you should take it as a compliment if that's at all possible, because they started out not taking any interest in us at all. And now that we are doing better, it's like they want to put us in, you know, to groom us to go further.
Well, that's good. I think your channel's very much going high up there, but I'm not going to be negative about my channel, Aya, but I still have this trepidation like, oh, well, it looks like recently one channel is getting a lot more subscribers than the other channel, but the channel that gets a lot more subscribers really doesn't have like serious content at all. Not at all.
Well, I mean, is that your take on it or somebody else's take?
It's kind of mine. Like, it's the hair channel. It's not deep. Okay. It's cool. I like hair, but come on. Like these, like all of a sudden I have a Facebook page for all of my blogs, all of my channels, and I barely get that many subscribers. Like maybe if I'm lucky, I get like with advertising, I got like 173 on a fashion art shirt Facebook page that I made for my blog and YouTube channel. But all of a sudden I just do it about hair and I get like almost 500 likes on my Facebook page and almost creeping up to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube page. But I guess I need to make the content more informative. Perhaps it's me. I need to do something about it. I guess I can't complain about it. So I'm not ungrateful. I just feel disappointed that my main channel has done some really good videos over the years, and I feel like I should have 1,000 subscribers by now. But that's just my take.
You almost do on your main channel.
Though, yeah, I almost do. But all of a sudden, I noticed that the hair channel went from having like 500 subscribers 2 months ago all the way up to 769, like real quick. Like it just made a jump like that. And my main channel just never, but I'm going to be honest with you. I have not really been making as many videos on my main channel this last year and a half. So I guess I can't complain. It's me. I need to put the time in. So, and you've done that every day. So I can't complain. Like you put in a lot of
time. I also have this feeling about the grooming videos. I'm not really happy that is what is boosting my main channel. And of course, you know that this channel that I am on right now doing this live stream with you has what I don't remember now, 38.
Like 38, something like that. But yeah. It just feels like it should have more because it's so interesting and talks about a variety of topics. But I guess it's because at the end of the day, I don't really know what YouTube likes, but it's a little fickle. Like I guess people just brought like different things at different times. But just my take, I'm not a fickle person. I'm very consistent. Like I might change my mind about things after reading about it, but I know how I think. And I've thought like pretty much like certain thoughts all my life. And like, I feel like a lot of things I've done with genealogy are a manifestation of like just stories and things I knew when I was younger or art. Like, I feel like I have some sort of vision of where my life is going. And I know what I like to watch on YouTube. I don't feel fickle like that when I go on YouTube, but I guess in general, people are like, oh, I just want to watch this. I want to watch that. And they don't really care. I don't know. Like what appeals to the average person watching YouTube? I don't know.
Well, I don't think we have to appeal to the average person. There is, in fact, I think if you ask Nassim Taleb, will tell you there's no such thing as the average person. Each person is different. And what we need to find are people who are interested in enough of the same things that we're interested in so that they can be maybe patient with us if there's just one thing they're not interested in that we are.
Yeah. I like Nassim Taleb's approach, but he's allowed to be like, well, he's like what you call a Renaissance man. And that people used to be encouraged to be like Renaissance men and women where you had a variety of interests. But now on social media, YouTube, Twitter, it seems like they think the account should only have one topic of interest and it should just be about the election or it should just be about a certain type of food. And then if the account posts something that deviates from that 1 inch, oh my gosh, you have to unfollow it.
Yeah.
I don't, but maybe not everybody. I think some people like, I'm not sure if I agree with the word influencer, but I think in a way we kind of are, because I think the legitimate people that are gaining traction on YouTube now are people that have a variety of interests. I do see kind of a shift in a way. So maybe what Nassim and you are saying is right, I think.
Yeah, I think that if we find enough people who are excited enough about the things that we're excited about, then they will show a little bit of tolerance to our individuality.
Yeah, I would think so. And that makes, I think everybody actually has individual thoughts and ideas and interests, but maybe it's just that like right now, like people are like, you're supposed to like this because it's like, it's PR marketing or like that. So maybe just seeing that, hey, it's okay to like this and that and show an interest in that and the other, you know, that's all.
Yeah, and I think that we're gonna hook a variety of people. So, for instance, on my main channel next Friday, we're going to have somebody who's going to talk to us about the economy, and it's somebody who knows about trading stock. So, yeah.
Maybe he can give me some tips, because I feel like I have never understood the stock market. So I think I need to take notes on this upcoming live stream.
Yeah. What I'm asking myself really is, do they have to know anything about the companies, or is it just some kind of mathematical thing where they notice which way the things are going, if you see what I'm saying?
No, I see what you're saying. Like, I would like to know, like, how do you know? How do you know what to invest in? How do you know when to sell? Like, I would like to know those things too.
Right. But we're also going to ask him about general trends in the economy. And since he understands the economy better than we do, we might learn something interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, I think just general knowledge of the economy for anyone. And let's be honest, does the average, and this is not me being condescending, because myself, I feel like, just going to public school, I don't feel like they ever explained how the economy really works to us in a legitimate way. Like, they would talk about the law of supply and demand and economics, but then they would just mention it and then they'd go on to other things. So I feel like we don't really cover this in the educational system. So it would be good to know more about it.
Yes, definitely. Not that I'm sure that anybody at all understands it completely, because we don't have to understand it for it to work. We just have to stop trying to second guess it.
Yeah, maybe we need to just let it do its thing instead of trying to voice a certain direction upon it, perhaps.
I think so, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to know more. I do.
Of course. Well, no, I think that's actually wanting to know more, listening to what he has to say, I guess, is what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something to look forward to. And did you have anything else that you wanted to share before?
Well, not a lot at the moment, but I am trying to do more live streams on my channel. And one thing I have been trying to do that I think might work out is that I do like these live stream cooking videos, because I don't think I'm good at doing like an edited cooking video, but I kind of like just doing a live, like, cook with me kind of video. And they don't get a lot of views right now, but I think they could continue to maybe have a few more views. And that's just something I've been doing that's kind of fun for me.
Well, I really like your apple pie, and I think that is getting a lot of views. I mean, it's rising.
Yeah, it's rising now. I think what happens is when I write a blog post about something, the views go up considerably, but I'm not as consistent. And one thing I really need to try and be more consistent with is like posting to my blogs, because a lot of that fell off a cliff in the last year. So I need to put in more of an effort, and that's it.
Well, I need to do that too. It's just that I was discouraged by the fact there was no income whatsoever from the blogs, and there was income from YouTube. So.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, and I think it's probably in general, YouTube is the best way to go. But the reason I like to do some short blog posts is I notice my videos just seem all of a sudden to get more views when I do a short blog post about them. I've just seen the correlation between that.
Yeah, I think
anyway.
Right. I should probably do that too. So maybe we'll keep ourselves on that path.
Yeah, but I know that you probably need to get going because it is a Saturday and there's a lot of things going on. But it was so interesting talking with you about all these topics, Aya.
Yeah, I always enjoy talking to you, Julia. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.